Hi, I'm Georgia Fairweather, and welcome back to this week's Novum Insights Weekly Tech Tips, where I bring you the highlights from one of the leading global frontier marketplace intelligence companies. So this week on the agenda is classifying tokens. But firstly, you might ask, why is it important to classify tokens? Because we all know that anything can be tokenized and represented digitally, it's clear that not all digital assets should be subject to financial regulation. So in this week's newsletter, we introduce a sensible token classification system developed by Lee Schneider from the Global Blockchain Convergence. The sensible token classification system introduces 5 categories of tokens. 1, physical asset tokens. 2, service tokens. 3, intangible asset tokens. 4, native tokens. And 5, stablecoins. You can see here how we map out the GBC taxonomy. So let's go through these, shall we? So physical asset tokens are a digital representation of a real world or tangible asset, but it's created and maintained on a distributed ledger, including blockchain. So assets in this category include like tokenized gold, tokenized paintings. So this is different to digital art, but real life art that's been tokenized. Tokenized designer shoes, anything like that, anything real, tangible that can be tokenized. Now, service tokens, these are different. So service tokens are the digital representation of services to be provided by a person or an entity to other people or entities. So assets in this category include like music files, digital art files, cleaning services, concert tokens, anything like that, anything that's a service. Next one is intangible asset tokens, which is any traditional intangible asset distributed on DLT, distributed ledger technology. Assets in this category include security tokens, real estate ownership tokens, intellectual property, government programs, and anything like this. As these tokens represent intangible assets, it's important to include terms and conditions, limitations, obligations of the different parties in the smart contract. The 4th token class is native DLT tokens. So as its name suggests, these are tokens that are made natively on the distributed ledger technology. These tokens are created by a smart contract and they have desired functions and features that are programmed within the token itself. GBC sets out the characteristics of native DLT tokens in this diagram. Native DLT tokens serve or provide at least one of the following criteria: incentivization or behavior on DLT. For example, a consensus mechanism, governance rights, a medium of exchange or a means of payment, and the manner in which allocation of system resources is determined. So, for example, system inflation is a share of fees collected by the system for activities. The asset class is stablecoins, possibly one you're most familiar with. So stablecoins are tokens designed to maintain a stable value against an underlying asset, reference, or a basket of assets. So you could pin it against the US dollar, for example. Like we said before, anything can be tokenized and represented digitally on a distributed ledger technology, like a blockchain. Many tokens already fall under a well-developed legal framework, thanks to the regulators. However, subjecting all tokens to financial regulation is probably not appropriate because of the mere act of tokenization does not change the essence or the inherent characteristics of the underlying asset. So that's why we need to pay attention to how we characterize each of these tokens. That's why systems like the simple token classification system by Lee Schneider are so important during the formative stage of digitalized finance. So contributors like this from the industry are valuable both to the regulators and also to the community as we all together learn how to navigate this rapidly emerging ecosystem. That's it for me this week. If you want to hear more, check out the Novum Insights weekly newsletter. Link is below, and I'll see you next week.